Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday afternoon, September 23rd, and we're looking at Window Traders market profile of SPY, IWM, and triple Qs. And even though a very, very impressive day for the bulls, we've closed up 1.2%. We were up over 1.5 at one point. But a couple of things. First off, a majority of this, especially early on, was short covering. Without a doubt, when A period opened and ripped up A, B, C, and we went sorry, that's short covering. Then momentum buying comes in. They tried to push it higher. You know, we had a chance of 4 sets of single prints today. We ended with 0. Russell had a chance for 4. They ended up with 2. They hold 1 set in G, 1 set in D. And right now, the Russell, depending on how they close tomorrow, could possibly have an outside week up. That would be impressive. Triple Qs barely took out their IB. They didn't do it till I period. We have nothing to lean on, really, us and the Qs. The Qs have 8 wide. They have no afternoon pullback, so it's the high and low. For us, we're only 8 wide, but B was definitely a lowest accepted price. That was a beauty. And we have today's high and low. And ES is poor. Again, P-shape for short covering for both of us. I had said in J period, this market seemed tight. I said, if we fill our singles, which were in H and G, I really don't expect this market to go back and attempt to make a new high today. And I said I wouldn't doubt if we close in the high volume area. We had a 50-cent range, so we had a $5.19 range today. Over 30% of the volume. Think about this. Over 30% of the volume in SPY was done in 50 cents. So in less than 10% of the range, we did 30% of the volume. So there's no surprise once we got below C's high, where they attempted to have change take place and failed, that we closed in here. The only bad thing about it, I didn't take advantage of it. I had a good day, but didn't take advantage of it. I should have taken a short, especially in M. When M period came up, briefly got above C. Should have, when they came back in, should have jumped on board because came in a nice dollar. But besides that, I had a good day. So for my trades today, in A period, I took a long. We opened, started pushing up high value. I said I want to be long and took it, the 439 calls. I didn't expect this market to rip as hard as it did. Didn't hold them as long as obviously I would have liked. And then I did take a short in A period against the overnight high, which the first time paid there. So it was pretty nice. We had a $2 run up, shorted against the overnight high, came in a little bit and made money on that, and then took it off. I wasn't staying married to it, and then we went back up. So that was an A long and a short. Did nothing in B. I was like, is this the lowest accepted price? It looked like it was. We got above the 50-day moving average, and that's another thing I want to talk about in a minute. So I scalped longs in C, the 442 calls. Scalped calls a couple of times. Wanted to do it in D, and I was waiting for us to fill the singles in B. We finally did, and I never pulled the trigger to get them. So a couple of misses on my part today. That was a big one in D, because that would have been, even though ES did not stop one time framing up at that point. They didn't stop till J. SPY did, but I didn't care about that. That should have been a size call play. I was busy doing something. Never took it. Shame on me. That would have been an awesome call play against the lowest accepted price, because look what we did afterwards. E, F, and then just kept going. So that's a miss on my part. I took a small short in G when we took out the day's high, thinking that we'd come back since we now had a 6-wide POC, and we failed to hold single prints a couple of times. Well, that turned out to be wrong as it started going, but what I did to rectify it is in H, even though I still had the small short, took a size call play before H popped the top. It popped G's high, so whatever I lost, I took the puts off, which weren't big, and made nice money on a size 443 call play. And then after that, I did nothing else. Once I took those off, I and J did nothing. I did take a long one time against C's high and K and got an initial pop off of it. Those were also the 443 calls. And then that was it. I didn't do anything else. So I certainly missed the long here in D. Without a doubt, that should have been a nice size long against the lowest accepted price. Higher value. The indices were all up. Huge buy tail. So that was one missed trade. And then here again this afternoon, when I said I think the odds of the market going to make a new high aren't good. I think the market's tight. It's stretched out. We're going to probably end up just meandering about into this big area. And that's exactly what we did. So again, I'm not complaining. I had a really good day, but definitely two opportunities I missed. As far as destinations, on the upside, we have today's high of 444.89. And believe me, you better put your hard hats on tomorrow, because we have a $5 range, and the only thing we have to lean on is the high, low, and B's lowest accepted price. So 444.89 today's high, 445.37 daily high, 448.36 daily high. Talk about wide destinations. For the downside, we don't have anything to the lowest accepted price, B's low, 442.21. Then we don't have anything to today's low, 439.60. And then yesterday's POC of 438.28, which was going to be an upside, and became a downside. We're trading against short-term traders. I'm telling you, they have to latch on to something. They're heat-seeking missiles. And that's why you expect tremendous chop again tomorrow for them to reach these destinations that are so far and wide apart. Now, at one point, we were over $2 above the 50-day moving average. We closed right now only 30 somewhat cents above it. Now, one day doesn't make a market, I say. Now, we were really high above it. I was like, that's impressive, especially if you would have held single prints. But we didn't, and we didn't stay up here. So even though it's an impressive move, right? We got down to 428.86 on Monday. So 429, and we got up to 444, 445 almost. That's a $15 move off the lows. That is without a doubt impressive. But if all it is mainly short covering, and we can't stay above the 50-day moving average, well, then it remains to be seen if we stay above last month's low by the end of the week. So it's going to be interesting over the next 5 days when we close out the quarter next Thursday. And then on the chart, so the monthly with 5 days to go is balanced. Buyers don't want to close below 436.10 to have an outside month down, and sellers certainly don't want to close above 453.07 to have an outside month up. If I had to lay money, I'd say we end up inside of last month's range, and we don't have either. But that remains to be seen. Weekly is still down. Oh, we closed the gap. That was my main focus. But we are down, one time framing down for 3 weeks. So if we can't take out last week's high of 448.92 tomorrow, then whatever this week's high is, which right now is today's high, that's a huge focal point for the buyers to try to take to come into balance. If they don't, nothing's changed in the bigger picture. And then in the daily, we are up, one time framing up 3 days, closed right above that 50-day moving average. Now, we saw how viciously we've bounced all year off it. This time was different because we got below it by a lot and stayed below it for 4 days. So is it going to be a little different story now on the back end of it as we come up, or are they going to get their act together and start moving? All remains to be seen. I hope you had a great day trading. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.